Welcome back, Red Spotters. Another show here on the Red Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Soto, joined by Mr. Peter Martinez. Joining me this week to discuss what we discuss every single week, all of the wonderful, wonderful news related to the film industry. How are you doing this week, Mr. Martinez? Yeah,
Very
that's
much.
about. Welcome to week 20 of our wonderful coronavirus pandemic. And with that, we don't want to commemorate it. It's bad to say that, but we should also mention 140,000 dead to COVID-19. Thank you, President Trump. With that said, we will be discussing a little bit of COVID, as well as what we saw this week. And of course, our main headlines revolve around Netflix adding 26 new million subscribers, along with Avatar breaking some records. They've unveiled their top 10 most popular films. The Russos are teaming up with Gosling and Evans for a spy $200 million thriller. Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision delayed at Disney Plus. Meanwhile, more Lucasfilm animation, more Clone Wars is coming. All that and more here on Red Spotlight number 252. So, let's briefly, although I'm not sure, I don't have much to add on to this, but briefly let's go ahead and go over what it is that we consumed in media. This is what we saw this week. Peter, would you like to go first?
I might as well. Let me look up this shit that I saw this. So I saw 3 shows this past week. I went on a Amazon Prime binge a bit, and I saw 3 Amazon Prime shows. And you know what? I'll talk about them. I enjoyed all 3 of them, but I'll talk about them in order from, I'll end with my favorite. I'll put it that way. Ascending order. So the first one that I saw, I don't know if you know this show. It is a show called Good Omens.
I've heard of it. Yes, I've seen previews.
Mm-hmm. With, Michael Sheen playing an angel, David Tennant playing a demon, and they are the unlikeliest of friends, and they are attempting to stop Armageddon because they've spent all of Earth's history on Earth, and they've grown to really like it down here, and they don't want to ruin their fun by having the whole Armageddon thing destroy everything,
Yeah.
It's a good show. I enjoyed it. The reason it's not my most favorite is because when it's Michael Sheen and David Tennant just like together doing shit, talking to each other, it's amazing. It's great. I could watch that all day.
But when it's not?
But when it's not, it's not the best. It's whatever,
Yeah.
The show really shines when it's just the 2 of them. Luckily, there are episodes where it's like just the 2 of them. There's one episode that just follows their relationship throughout time, starting in the Garden of Eden, and then, through other historical instances in human history. They're there at the flood, and then they're there at, Shakespeare and World War II, and just sort of their commentary back and forth, being an angel and a demon. Oh, Jesus, when he was put on the cross, and their witty back and forths about everything that's going on, and the great plan by God and humans. It's so funny, and it's so well done and well acted, and that part is just great. I love it. But then it gets into some other stuff, and it's the whole time I'm just like, get back to Michael Sheen and David Tennant. So yeah, that was the technically I just watched it second, but that was the first one I talked about. The second one is Upload. Now there was something in this show very early on that made me shut it off. But I did go.
No, I know what you're talking about. Oh
Yeah.
God, why didn't you just stay away from it? That probably would have been the nail in the coffin for me. I would not have bothered.
It was so funny. I was like, I can't believe it. It's a background thing. I literally had to pause the thing and like rewind and be like, is that what I think it is? And then I like enhance, like fucking CSI. And I'm like, oh my God. I won't say what it is, but yeah. This upload takes place in the year 2033. The rest of the show is pretty good, even like politically. If you care for such things. It's about this upload. Basically, in the future, when you die, you don't actually die. Your consciousness is put into sort of like a virtual heaven, right?
Okay.
And it's the first episode, this 28-year-old guy dies suddenly, and then now the show's kind of like now him dealing with being in quote unquote heaven, virtual heaven. And, a lot of other stuff happens, and it's really funny and it's really interesting, and I really dug it. I really dug the world building. It was really interesting. I will say that. And of course, it's that kind of thing where, if you're rich, you go to an extravagant, beautiful, you get uploaded to an extravagant, beautiful place in the web where it's, beautiful cottages. You can change the weather at all time. Like, you can do all kinds of stuff. Obviously, you're in the computer. And if you're not so rich, you get into, how do we say it? The value package, where you get 2 gigs a month. And you have to basically make do with that.
I hate it already.
Yeah.
I hate it already. Yeah, that I would not want to watch that right now. I would not, not. And I mean, just the concept of it, I'm sure they play on this, but like, wow, I really just died to be back in the same hell I was already in.
Yep.
So, turn me off.
It's interesting the way it's done, and it is funny, and it's nice. It's nice.
Didn't Good Place have a similar concept like that?
It did. It's definitely not the same show.
Right.
Because when I saw it, I was like, just sounds like a lame Good Place. And I love The Good Place. But no. It's definitely different. And The Good Place wasn't like a digital, it was actual.
Right. I've seen a couple of episodes. In fact, I think I watched, the first episode when it was broadcast live all those years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I like the showrunner. That's why I saw it. I can't remember who showruns it. But yeah,
Oh, you mean Scott Buck? Isn't he great?
Scott Buck? That motherfucker. Okay. And the last show I watched, which was my favorite, it's really good. It's a animated show, technically. It's really good. It's called Undone. Comedy drama. After 28-year-old Alma nearly dies in a car accident, she finds that she has a new relationship with time. She develops this newfound relationship to find out the truth about her father's death. It stars Rosa Salazar of Alita fame and Bob Odenkirk as her dad. And a bunch of other people. Oh, for all you Hamilton fans, David Diggs is in it. So there you go. No, wait. I think that's the name of his character. Tunde? What's his name? No, his name's David Diggs. Daniel Diggs. Fucking the fuck. What did I miss?
David Diggs.
Yes.
That's him.
Yes, that guy.
What were you
Because you're looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. Like I'm not saying it right.
Well, I was thinking, oh God, we're not having a Elijah Cummings, John Lewis moment, are we?
Were you thinking of someone else?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know what you were trying to say. I think you're trying to say David Diggs, and then you said no,
Yeah.
that's the character's name, not the actor's. Okay.
Because
then
I thought, because on fucking Google it has the character's name and then the actor's name like right next to each other,
right.
and I don't know I don't fucking know his name. I just know him from Hamilton. So I was like, I don't know. I wasn't sure. Anyways, yeah. So if you're a Hamilton fan, maybe that'll get you to watch it. It's really good. I'm. If I say this, it'll get across its quality, but then I feel like it'll also get you to never watch it. So I don't know if I should say it.
Well, let me guess. You're about to say it's better than fill in the blank.
No, I was gonna say it was from the producers of BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
And it has interesting conversations on, time, death, happiness, depression. That the fun stuff.
Well,
but it is funny.
Yeah.
And it's not it didn't make me have just the worst existential crisis of my life the way it does while watching BoJack Horseman. It's not that. It's actually it's good. It's really good.
I have no doubt. And to be clear to our listeners, I love BoJack Horseman. I think it is.
But did you watch the 4th season?
Excuse me. I like Trump. Excuse me. I. There's an
so
episode.
You admit it.
There's an episode I think we did. Was it 115? I think it was 115 or something. It was called "What Is?" It's a crossover episode. It's on our feed.
Mm-hmm.
Peter and I reviewed the first
3.
I thought it was 4. Or 3 or 4 seasons.
Oh yeah,
of
4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
didn't watch
reviewed
the 5th season. That's
right. We reviewed the first 4 seasons of BoJack Horseman. And I said it was one of the best shows on television, if not the best. So I gave that show high marks, and I legitimately love the show along with the characters. However, not long after watching those 4 seasons, I had a series of panic attacks and anxiety like I've never experienced in my life. The kind of anxiety where you're just crying for no reason, out of nowhere. So I do want to watch BoJack season 5. I'm not sure a pandemic is the best place to risk an existential crisis like the one Peter claims to have had because of COVID. And Peter doesn't do these things called like anxiety and shit like that. So if this did a number on him, this might very well kill me. I'm not sure it's in my best interest.
I don't know if you'll ever be in the right headspace, especially for that second to last episode, the view from halfway down.
Oh God! Even the title. Oh my God! Like the show is terrible. To like your yeah, it makes me want to die.
It's like did you ever read The Bell Jar?
I don't remember. That sounds familiar. What's it about?
It's about this college girl. It's basically depression. The writer of it committed suicide some years after. It's a very famous book. It's been a long time since I've read it. I read it, I think, in the 6th grade because my teacher recommended it. And it just sort of like, it's a very good book because it really puts you in that headspace. And it's almost this thing of like, well, what is happiness?
See,
like,
I don't need to be in that headspace right now. I do not need to be in that headspace.
Yeah.
I know what makes me happy. And in a pandemic where happiness is very seldom, it's hard to come by, I think reevaluating what makes me happy may not be best for what my mental health requires at the moment.
Sylvia Plath, that's who wrote it. Think of it this way, though. It's like, I mean, maybe this is the best time to see it. You get the full experience, You feel as helpless as BoJack anyway, just go for the ride.
Does that conclude your list?
Yes, it does.
All right. I have really not been bothering too much with. I think I'm about to start to get into some stuff I've been thinking about, but for the moment, I've really been doing a lot of other stuff to occupy my time. For example, well, one of the things I did watch for a couple of episodes, just because it's one of those things where you start watching it and then you can't stop watching. That Floor is Lava show on Netflix.
Oh no, are you serious?
Don't worry, I'm not like a super fan of it. It was just like,
yeah, this is how it starts.
It's a bunch of people throwing themselves. It's a competition show. It's whatever. It honestly isn't that great, but it is entertaining. So there was that.
That's all you watched? The Floor is Lava?
I mean, that's it. I mean, basically other stuff have been podcast. I watched a wonderful video series on YouTube by Vanity Fair. It's this famous poster artist taking modern posters and examining them. Yeah. I
thought there was more to that, but okay.
No, I mean, I was wanting. I did a YouTube search of how people, Mondo movie posters. People collect those things, which are outrageously expensive, and I wanted to see how people who collect those posters, how they arrange them on their walls and everything.
What do you fucking do with all those posters?
Well, well, hold on a minute. If you think my room is littered with posters, holy fuck. The things that I saw and how many posters people had on the walls.
If you pay for $60 to $100 a pop, per poster. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm displaying every one of those fucking things.
The thing about Mondo movie posters, and I was doing a deep dive of the whole alternative movie poster scene, is, well, especially with Mondos, you'd be lucky to get a poster for $60. You'd be very lucky, because a lot of them they're triple digits, easy. Even and the reason why it's that way is because they do they only print so many
limited
of them, right?
print.
Yeah, that's right.
They print 1,000, and then they're like, boop.
And the artist apparently does this by hand, where they number the posters out of how many, what number this was. Because I purchased one actually this weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
You had 130 to drop?
No, I spent half of that, at least over half that.
I was gonna say half of 130 is still pretty high.
No, I mean, it was and it was old at this point. This was from 2017. I got a Mondo Guardians 2 poster.
Ooh.
eBay had a lot of them. A lot of sellers are putting on them up there, but a lot of them were like 70, 80, 90, 120, 130.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted the poster. I had because I've actually, in this pandemic, we've all been, well, except for Peter, it seems like, but the rest of us have been overindulging ourselves in the online shopping scene.
Yes.
Oh, fuck off. We need, we're enthusiasts of this. I mean, Alexis has been basically buying everything Disney. She got Spirit jerseys. She's bought signs and everything. I won't say how much she spent, but it's a lot. At least from what she's told us, it's a lot of money. David's been buying. Go ahead.
She was sad, so it's okay.
David's been buying a whole bunch of books, he's told me. So that's his thing.
He got some Avatar comics. That's pretty cool.
Kyle has bought a lot of records. He's beefing up his record collection. He even has a whole display now since this has happened. And I've been basically buying nothing but posters.
I got the Legend of Korra Blu-rays. But that's because we're going to review them. I mean, months ago I did get a poster, but it never came.
There seems to be an issue with Etsy.
Yeah,
but I
fuck
saw
Etsy.
what the
I
poster
don't know
was, and
what's
it looked really good. It looked good. We'll see if you see it, but it looked good.
It's a good looking poster. I just wish it would have eventually ever came.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a new controller because my old one broke. And if I'm
Did ya?
gonna be in the pandemic, I need a working controller. But that's like $60, so I don't know.
I just drop it. Nobody will notice. But yeah, I've been. It amazes me. I never actually kept a count of how many posters I had on display. At least there's a lot of them I have in tubes because there's no more room.
Yeah.
But let me just do a quick count and see what I have. Wait. At least wait. I want to make sure I'm counting right because I don't know if I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, at least 6 posters I've ordered, and they're already here. I'm waiting on 2 more, so that would mean a total of 8 posters, and that's including the ones that I purchased for myself only. So yeah. I because it was interesting. I'm waiting for the Guardians 2 one. I don't know if you can see it behind me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got a brand new Shield poster.
No,
can you believe it? Can you see it, or is it hard to see?
No, I can see it. I saw it from the very beginning.
Okay. So this is actually really interesting and a really cheap way of getting like stuff, although you have to wait like a month and a half. If you want to get some like rare prints that nobody else does, there are these manufacturers in China and they produce it with silk fabric. And I've mentioned this before, that a lot of the posters that I have are silk. But the amazing thing about this is that people can't tell the difference. I've had you guys in here in the room to see if you can tell which ones are silk and which ones are not. You really can't tell. I had David today. We were recording the Shield podcast, and I asked him if he could tell the difference between the Shield poster that I just got, silk one, and any of the others. And I'm just amazed by the quality of those prints, because they look really good.
Yeah. What's the thing? I adore alternative posters. Like, I literally just have a fucking Tumblr, so I just use it as storage for all the alternative posters that I love looking at. And I just find them so fucking, like, I love them. I love a good poster, and modern day posters just suck ass. And there's so many great artists out there on the internet, and they just make phenomenal posters. The thing is, like, other than Mondo, like, to actually buy prints of it, like, it's not like widespread easy.
It's hard to come by.
Yeah, that's what sucks. Yeah. Yeah,
this recent Shield poster for the final season was my favorite that they've done so far, because it actually was like more than just like a photoshopped like force poster. It was very much like stylized, almost like half like live action, half animated almost. I'm not gonna lie that I kind of got a little emotional when I opened it up.
Oh god.
And I'm not even ashamed of it. I was like, okay. I was literally tearing up when it was like, when I put it in the frame, and I'm like, no, it's over. I can't believe this. Like, it's almost as if I purchased a fucking coffin or something for the damn corpse of this series.
It's a headstone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's...
Can't wait to piss on its grave.
Yeah, I have more on the way. Yeah. I love posters. I love them, and I love looking at them even more. But you're so right. It is difficult to come by, especially if you want some. But I recommend eBay has a lot of really well regarded sellers. And I'll guarantee you this. eBay is, at least by appearance, far more stringent than Etsy when it comes to its sellers and shipping things.
So much shit from eBay, and I don't think I've ever had a problem.
Not
Like,
once.
More often than not, my shit arrives early. Like, it's...
Yeah. I will say I have been having some glitch issues because I do track the things as they come.
Okay.
But lately, and I mean post coronavirus, the trucks are moving
PA?
much slower than they used to. So it takes at least a week to 2 weeks longer on average.
Yeah. But I think that's everywhere.
Yeah, so that's like not really reflective on eBay. It's reflective on the times that we're in right now and the reality that we're in.
That's another thing, though. It's like I get kind of scared to get anything from eBay. Like I said, my fucking the last things I bought came through Florida. It's like, oof.
You need to learn to let go of that. You need to, because I had to, because I think it was when this COVID thing was first like happening way back in, I think it must have been
March?
early February, late January. No, this is early in the year. Early in the year, I ordered a Two Popes poster. The same manufacturer, same fabric, from China. And I was like, wait, do I? I did think about it. Like, am I going to be responsible for bringing COVID to the Valley because I bring over a fucking poster? It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way on like materials like that, especially this thing that was rolled up for. I didn't get that poster until like late February, early March. It was like, well, remind me, was when we watched the Oscars, was this poster already here? The two Popes poster?
I don't know.
Okay, then, because I don't know either. So I'm not sure when it got here, but it was like a long, long time, and shit like that, and whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know. I am hyper vigilant when it comes to COVID. Like, anything that comes in the mail, I fucking desanitize the box, open it, desanitize whatever's in it, and like then desanitize myself. I don't know.
As you should.
I'm pretty crazy like that.
Well, you need to, and you can't be too careful these days because of what's going on.
So what you've been watching this week is eBay bidding.
Oh yeah.
All of you have gotten a catch of the shopaholic bug.
Well, we all saved money to go to Disneyland, and then that didn't happen, and it's never gonna happen. So, them's the breaks, right?
You know why too? Because the second, eventually, which will be a long time, when shit even does open up, it's gonna be a madhouse.
I know.
It's gonna be a madhouse.
Yeah.
Because everyone is gonna be rushing in. It's gonna be packed. Like nobody.
Well, that would be good news
time,
from Disney's perspective. I'm sure they're itching to make some money.
Sure.
So that would be great
like,
for them, but it would be an awful experience to go there. I wouldn't be one of the first to go.
No.
It's not worth it. That'd be a whole different conversation of like not worth the expense on top of the one that we have right now, which is not worth your life to have the expense of doing that. So all that and more.
Fuck Trump.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we're going to transition now to where we are in the world right now. I did mention that this is the 20th week. We're entering, I think, 5.5 months of this pandemic. Things are worse than they ever have been before. We are peaking, right? So I think we're gaining anywhere an average, I want to say, of 70 to 75,000 people are getting infected a day, or are getting their tests back positive as a country. Some states are peaking at 10,000 to 15,000 cases a day, namely Florida. Hospitalizations are through the roof. ICUs in particular are packed. Beds are running out across the country, of course. As far as from a governmental standpoint, there has seemed to have been a mad dash in the last 7 days by a lot of different states to, in the 20th week of a pandemic, barely mandate the wearing of masks.
Good job, guys. You did it. You saved the city.
And as far as California, and that's where Peter and I are based in, there have the governor and also the mayor of Los Angeles, which is, of course, the largest city in the state, have been teasing for days now that an even more stringent lockdown is on the horizon for California. Meanwhile, the president is on this culture war after culture war with the masks, and then, of course, with schools and trying to force them to reopen, which that's, unless you're Orange County, that's not going to happen. But damn, do they have fucking balls at Orange County. Wow.
They got money.
No, yeah, they have money. Well, hope they enjoy dying then because of their own actions. It is and on top of all of that, and this is something you and I have not discussed yet, as if things weren't bad enough, those stimulus checks are about to disappear.
There was stimulus checks to begin with?
Yeah.
You mean the 1,000?
Yeah.
From like months ago?
Yeah. Well, the unemployment benefits in particular.
Oh, the unemployment benefits, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that shit's going to disappear too. Yeah, they weren't going to renew that. No, shit's going to go worse, and worse, and worse. Well, obviously, all of this is an attempt to, more than anything, Trump and his administration just want to go back to normal. Because they think that if they go back to normal, then the economy can go back up, and that then they can have an opportunity to win the election because everything's back to normal. You know, you save the day and all that jazz. But their whole idea, and Trump has literally said this, is if you just ignore it, then it would be better. Because his whole thing of like, if I tested less people, then less people would have COVID. And it's like, no, they would still have it. Not testing someone doesn't mean they miraculously don't have it. But that's the way he genuinely sees the world, because he's dumb as fuck. So this is the reality. There's going to be a hard push to just reopen everything and try and go back to normal. And many, many, many more people will die as a result of that. Exclusively, you know, and I would recommend if, you know, let's say you have a child and they're trying to force your child to go back to school, saying, go fuck yourself. My child's not going back to school. That's a good way. And I noticed they did that at one of the press conferences. They kept saying, like, the science is on our side. Kids are less likely to get infected. And it's like, yeah, but they can carry the infection to their parents. And you don't know how old their parents are. And guess what? A lot of grandparents live in the household with kids and their parents. You know, it's multi-generational households, especially with, guess what? Latino families. So, you know, grandparents can get wiped out, parents can get wiped out, and it's like, yeah, the kid only has the sniffles and then maybe he's fine, or maybe he didn't even feel it, but you just wiped out his whole family overnight. But hey, at least little Billy gets to fucking do the ABCs in a classroom instead of over a computer. I'm ranting. What were we talking about? Holy
I have
shit.
I'll add some stuff that'll save your rant here. In terms of what the White House is doing to fight coronavirus. Get ready. So the White House spokesperson said that science will not stand in the way of schools reopening. That's first and foremost.
Was that Kellyanne?
That was it was not Kellyanne. It was like Kayleigh McEnany, whatever her name was.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They look.
Yes, well,
she's like the young version of
Right.
Kellyanne. Like they even talk the same. It's funny.
Yeah,
Kellyanne's daughter though is fucking cool.
The White House, as we mentioned before, has pulled out of the World Health Organization. They have talked about cutting the funding to the CDC, and more to the point, they have now taken away the daily tracking numbers of coronavirus from the CDC, and is now under the directive of the Trump administration. And guess what? It's not available to the public. So there's that. The White House is also seeking to block funding for coronavirus testing and tracing in the upcoming relief bill.
That sounds about right.
This is a pro-death political party in America. It is a pro-coronavirus party. As Peter has said it, it is a death cult. These people are literally pushing us over a cliff.
And themselves along with us, but they don't care. Yeah, it's a death cult. Like,
the governor of Georgia sued the mayor of Atlanta because she dared to enforce a mask-wearing mandate. The governor of Missouri is saying that kids can go back and they'll get coronavirus, but they'll get over it. All Republicans. I know the media won't tell you that, but they're all Republicans, by the way.
No, like, we've been building to this for decades at this point, but it really is, we're getting to the breaking point where there's just a portion of this country that doesn't live in this reality. You know, there are like legit QAnon people that are getting like nominated into like Congress or like winning elections.
That's bad.
Like these are literally crazy people.
Yes.
Literally crazy people. They don't live in this reality. They don't. And we always talk about this. You know, you call it evil. And while it may have the same effects as evil, I feel like calling these people evil is giving them too much credit. I don't know why. Evil just, to me, insinuates an underlying intelligence and understanding of what you're doing. But to me, it's more like a cancer or like an animal that eats itself.
Yeah.
These people.
Oh, and in case anyone questions where the president's headspace is at, the Washington Post is out with a new report quoting a Trump advisor who says the president has turned his attention away from the coronavirus pandemic. One of these advisors said that the president is not really working this anymore. He doesn't want to be distracted by it. He's not calling and asking about data. He's not worried about cases. In case there was any question about where the president's mind is at the moment. With over 140,000 Americans dead with COVID-19. We are in the end of July. Unemployment is about to completely expire. Businesses are about to completely shut their clothes for good. Friends and family of ours are about to die.
And how was your week?
The only bit of good news is it doesn't appear to be going over well with the American public. According to the polls, things have gotten so bad for Donald Trump that he's losing on the issue of handling the economy to Joe Biden. Republicans always lead on that issue, no matter what. Which, by the way, the media never says this. The media never says this. And I'm going to say this right now. How ignorant are the American people? I mean, Chris Hayes said this on MSNBC. 2 successive Republican presidencies in a row have brought the country to its knees. George W. Bush crashed the economy. Now, Donald Trump crashed the economy. Things weren't great after Bush won or Reagan. Like, every Republican presidency has fucked over this country. And God, go ahead.
The most economic growth has happened under Democratic presidencies in modern U.S. history.
Conservative Democratic presidencies, to be clear about that. These aren't liberals. They governed as conservative Democrats.
Yeah. Well, they were all conservative. They all held the mantle of Democrat.
Right.
Democrat doesn't necessarily imply a certain political lean. It's just the name of the party, so yeah. But yeah, like none of these we obviously have never had like a far left leaning in the traditional sense presidency, but that's kind of neither here nor there. Every modern Democratic president has done a better job of the economy than Republicans. But I guess just because Republicans say like private sector jobs, I guess because they just say it, people believe it. But another statistic, Democrats have created more private sector jobs than Republicans. Like, you can say what you want about Obama, but Obama fucking saved this country. Like, he genuinely, his recovery was incredible. He saved this country from, and this has kind of been the cycle of recent, is, Republican comes in, kind of fucks everything up and destroys this country. Democrat comes in and works hard to fix it, all the while the Republican that just got out of office turns around and goes, whoa, everything's shit. It must be because a Democrat's in office now, right, guys? And they say this for the next 4 to 8 years until people go like, yeah, you know what? It is kind of shit.
All while having the same policies, the same ideas, the same things that Donald Trump, not believe, he doesn't believe in anything, but the same policies that his administration advocates for is George W. Bush, but on steroids, and also with much less common sense.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's always good when people, how should you say it? Go in a good direction politically. Like, you don't want to hammer them for maybe past bad political takes, beliefs, or votes, or griefs or whatever. But I do think there is an issue where the crazy diehard Bush supporters, they were never held accountable for being unbelievably fucking wrong about
They still
Bush.
are not. They're being paraded on MSNBC because they're the never Trumpers.
Yeah, they're
the heroes of the conservative movement, as if they themselves did not fight tooth and nail to block Barack Obama and any of his policies from being enacted for 8 fucking years, and as if that network in and of itself did not know that. These people, as far as I'm concerned, are not friends. They're so unfriendly that during the primary they made it very clear that Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, last I checked was not a sociopath, did not have a cult of personality, that did not threaten democracy. By him calling himself a democratic socialist, was far more unacceptable than the current psychopath, sociopath, ignorant, malignant presence we have right now in the White House.
Yeah, I'm telling you, in 8 years, when we have a literal white nationalist running competitively for president with whoever the fucking Democrat is, like openly calling for like rounding up of Mexicans.
Well, isn't Trump a white nationalist?
And the White House. No, but this one's going to be worse.
Okay.
Like openly calling like a competent one and very out and about. Like, yeah, I think white people are the superior race. Like, you're going to get this level. And then what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to try and rehabilitate Trump. And then they're going to be like the same way that they did with Bush when Bush, was the devil. But then their stupidity allowed an even worse version of him, which in Trump. So now, Bush was the good one. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. Now Trump's the good one, and they're going to welcome him back in with open arms and be like, Donald Trump, welcome to the resistance. This just seems to be the shitty trend that we currently are on. Again, the hope is younger generations don't buy this bullshit, especially because
Well, they're not. And I just shared a poll with you that Joe Biden is just about as unpopular with young people as Donald Trump is. I mean, there's a 20-point gap, but it's,
That's awesome. I think that's really awesome. Not because, one, Joe Biden isn't in danger of losing the election. Like, he's going to win. It's going to be by
And just to be
landslide.
clear, we both advocate for Biden to be the
obviously.
president, just to be clear.
You-
and we
you bite the
advocate
bullet and-
that you should vote for him if you are in a swing state. Please do that.
Fuck yeah. Don't leave it to chance. I think he's going to win. He's going to win easily, but yeah, I don't like leaving anything to chance, especially with politics. But that's good, because I remember when Obama won, and it was, I think everyone was, buying into the hype, especially young people. Young people bought into the hype hard. And I think the rise of Bernie Sanders came very much from those young people who bought into the hype of Obama being sort of disaffected and torn down when you realize, like, he's just another establishment politician. Instead of having those rose-tinted glasses going into this administration, it's very much, no, we know what we're working with. It's just we got to get this evil motherfucker out of the way first, and then we can oppose you, which is good. Because I'm telling you this right now. Here's my prediction. You're going to get such a pushback after Biden wins, especially from older generations, from the MSNBC crowd, of people like, you can't criticize Biden. We just got rid of Trump. Biden won by such a landslide. It's obvious that people really, really just adore middle of the road Democrats. We can't allow these, crazy far left individuals to destroy the country that we just got back. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. You push and you fight and you claw the Biden administration as far to the left as you can, because ultimately it won't be that far, but you push as much as you can, and you don't stop. Don't buy into this thing, because there's always going to be a reason why you can't attack the Democrats. There's always going to be a reason. Oh, no, you can't say anything negative about a Biden or the Democrats right now because they need to win the election against Trump. Oh, no, you can't say anything against Biden and the Democrats because they just won Trump and now they get to govern, and, the election's in 2 years. No, you can't do that. And like, oh, no, now we're going to face against Ted Cruz, or I don't know, whoever, some other fucking white nationalist who runs again in 4 years. So you can't. No, we just got to do whatever the Democrats want. Like, don't question it, get in line. Fuck that noise. And what's great is I think there's a lot of people, especially in the younger generation, that are heading into this administration with that kind of attitude. And I think that's how we'll actually create change. There's a little bit of optimism for you.
Well, I mean, the optimism in the short term is that getting Trump out of the White House.
Yeah.
Because what the thing
That's
about
a win
what you and I
itself.
agree on is that this election is going to be on one issue now. And that is on where you stand on the coronavirus. Because I'm not reaching my breaking point, but I'm reaching a point where I'm legitimately angry at this whole situation in terms of, like, at least my situation. I want to get the fuck out of my home. Joe Biden will help make that happen. Trump will kill us. And then again, as we just mentioned, Joe Biden doesn't have to do anything. Trump is so hated. He knocked himself out of the race. That's where it is.
Yeah, because if you look at the likability of Biden, it's not like it's high.
It's actually kind of low.
It's
considering, I mean, even compared to Hillary Clinton, it's kind of low.
Yeah, it's pretty damn low. The reality is, people just massively hate Trump more than they dislike Biden. Like, that's really what it comes down to. This election really does come down to, who do you hate more? And who And most people hate Trump more with a fiery passion, so they're gonna go with the other guy. And it really fucking sucks that's what our election comes down to. But yeah,
in 2016 was like, all right, so in 2020, the race is between this one guy that everybody hates and this one guy that everyone's kind of like whatever on. 2016, Hillary Clinton in some circles was as equally, if not more hated than Donald Trump. I think like in 2016, that was a true, like, it's between two of the most hated figures in modern political history. Whereas Biden is just disliked.
He's just disliked. But you know what, though? If Biden was the nominee in 2016, it would probably be... I don't know if the outcome would be any different. Because
we used to think differently about that.
Yeah, because the game has just changed so much since then. Like we were talking about beforehand, Trump actually had pretty good political instincts in 2016. Now they're fucking terrible. You know, he just got hit with a fucking pandemic, Black Lives Matter.
Well, he's unraveling. He looks, visibly disheveled in recent interviews. He's not doing good.
And by the way, now he has a record.
Yeah. That's always a bitch when it comes to incumbent presidencies. And again, we should mention, historically, presidents do get reelected. However, they don't if they're doing as bad as Trump is doing right now in the numbers.
Mm-hmm. No, the numbers are fucking crazy. Like, I think I've mentioned this on here before, but I'm not going to name names. But we did have back in 2016, like a Twitter discussion where someone was talking about how corrupt Hillary is.
No.
And then I brought up Trump University and like all the ways that he was corrupt. And then this person said, that's different. He's not, he wasn't a government official when all that. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, but we're voting to see who will be the president. So he would be a government official if he gets voted in. Do you think he'll just stop being corrupt now that he's president? He'll go like, no, you don't understand, guys. That was before when I was just a businessman. Now I'm the president. I'm going to stop. Like, oh, God, that really fucking threw me for a loop back then. And yeah, now that over several massive investigations and an impeachment...
for the crimes that were looked into, not, of course, there were a lot of other ones that were not at all investigated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. The outcome was pretty obvious to me, even back then, I'll put it that way.
It was, but even then...
It should have been to everyone.
Even then, though, we didn't think it'd be this bad, even. I mean, we knew it would be bad. It would destroy, the country, but... I mean, God, I guess I was like, I remember the first week that it began to hit home that COVID-19 was going to be a thing here and all the things that it was going to do. And I was thinking about, all right, I need to prepare for this. And then I was stopped in my tracks when I realized, fuck, this had to happen with Trump as the president.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Any other presidency would just be... fine, at least. But this, God. Yeah, no. He's a dunderhead.
Vote out any Republican, too, by the way, because they are complicit in this as well. They're a death cult, and they need to be removed. I make no apologies for that. They're evil. All right. So, since we're on this and how it's affected movies, we've discussed the last few weeks about, movies not really going to come back in 2020, but of course the studios are ever so stubborn and they've not necessarily made that decision yet. However, today it was announced by Warner Brothers that they had pushed Tenet again for the third time off of the August 12th release date, which, by the way, you can catch the series finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on August 12th instead. So thank you, Tenet, for moving away.
You know you won't, but it's,
But I'm throwing it out there. It's the last time I'll be able to say it anyway. Anyway, Tenet is no longer... They didn't even give it a new release date. They said the headline was indefinitely. However, the article said that Toby Emmerich, chairman of Warner Brothers, is saying that they are in the process of deciding a new date. 2020 confirmed by him in the interview. I still have massive doubts, but that's what they're insistent, that they're still going to have 2020 Tenet be on the schedule. And we should also point out that this comes off the heels of China announcing that whenever movies open up again in mass in this year, 2020, or any theater that's open, they're not going to play any movie that's over 2 hours long.
I guess they don't want them in that building for too long. I don't know.
Right. Yes, that was the rationale.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, though. That's not going to happen in America. You know, America, they're just going to open up.
Yeah.
And be like,
well, we tried that 2
we're
months
open
ago.
now.
Well, we were, and now we're not. In some areas, depending on where you are, right? We're slowly beginning to creep back into lockdown.
Remember all those headlines, and I was so pissed off. So many headlines of like, you know, so-and-so, we're slowly starting to open up. You know, we're slowly going to start opening up businesses and stuff. And it's just like, why? Why do all of you people think that we can open up at all right now? Like, we are still going up in numbers. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then obviously, again, literally anyone could have seen it coming. We got this bad, and now we don't know whenever. Now it's really like we're fucked. We're really fucked. Tenet. This is hilarious to me. This is fucking, oh god. This is the gift that keeps on giving. And I really, really hope that New Mutants eventually gets a theatrical release and Tenet solely gets released on VOD. That's my hope.
That it gets released on VOD eventually?
That Tenet only gets released on VOD.
Yeah.
And that New Mutants gets its theatrical release. To me, that would be the perfect future. That's when I know we will have realigned with the good timeline.
I mean, that would be poetic justice, considering how arrogantly Mr. Nolan has been behaving.
It's the underdog story. The little mutant that could.
We've talked about this movie so many times. I'm beginning to lose interest in it altogether. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point I was looking forward to it because it did look like Nolan's best movie in a long time. That being said, though, Nolan insisting on this movie be the first one to open to save theaters at the cost of lives has really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
to the point where like I'll still watch Tenet and I'm sure it'll be a good film, but I've really, like, I was never excited to see it. I was looking forward to it, but now I was like, well, yeah, it was kind of icky.
I'll tell you this. I'll be the first one to watch it on VOD. First one to hit that purchase button. But yeah, I do hope that eventually it gets released in theaters, because if it gets released in theaters, that means eventually there are theaters in the future. And that's something I would really like. Right.
Of course, they say they're going to have a new date in 2020. I mean, it's
just
what we've
push
been
it to 2021. You dumb
I don't know why. I
bastards.
mean, there are rumors that No Time to Die, which was pushed back to November, is going to push back again to 2021. Today, WB confirmed that The Conjuring 3, which was supposed to open in October, is not going to go and open in June of 2021. So, as reality begins to hit home, we're, I think, on a weekly basis, going to see these movies just pushed back, with the exception of some that may have a debut elsewhere. We have been, I know one of the outlets that I look at, there's been rumbles, nothing to base this off of, so just so you know, but there have been rumbles that New Mutants and Mulan are being prepped for Disney Plus releases. Although that's still really, I don't know how much sense that would make, because you'd think that you'd want to put those movies on POVOD first, have people buy them digitally, and then put them on Disney Plus, and then on top of that, New Mutants can't go on Disney Plus before it goes on HBO Max.
It has to go on HBO Max first. That's gonna be hilarious whenever that eventually happens.
So yeah, that I'm still doubtful that happens. But Peter, tell me, what do you think we're gonna get are we just gonna be seeing this now every week, and then the movie is just slowly beginning to disappear? Like, why not just say, all right, movies are canceled? They're still deluding themselves, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They it's their job. Like, they're gonna fight tooth and nail to open up until the point they can actually open up. You know? But if they're able to find an opening tomorrow to open up theaters, they'll fucking do it. But we all know it's gonna happen, but it's not gonna. We all know it's not gonna happen, but that's not gonna stop them from not trying to fight for it.
We've been, we know that's not gonna happen as far as theaters in America in 2020. At least that's not what any of us here think that would happen. However, there has been conversation, and I wonder how likely you think this is, Peter, of the studios being forced to, or at least forcing themselves to bypass the North American box office and release it in markets that theaters are open. These big releases like Black Widow and Wonder Woman and Tenet and Mulan. How likely do you think that is?
I can definitely see that eventually happening. Where they go, yeah, we can't wait any longer. We're going to have some soft opens of these other films. And like, I don't know, China or other places that actually have their shit together. But like, US and Canada will probably have to wait. Poor Canada. I think they tie Canada and United States' release together.
Yep, that's the domestic box office, yeah.
So, sorry guys. Even if you got your shit together, we don't.
And Mexico doesn't at all.
Oh yeah.
That would be very interesting. I think if you're gonna do that, you'll be making money, but you really have to dramatically lower your expectations. I do wonder perhaps if Nolan is going to allow WB to cut his movie underneath 2 hours so they can show it in China. His last movie made at least $120 million in China. So yeah. That is a big market for him.
If his movie's nearly 3 hours, he's not going to cut it.
Of course, to say nothing of the mass number he needs to make for that movie to, be profitable in any way, which they're not. None of them are going to be. That would be interesting to see movies like Wonder Woman and Black Widow open elsewhere. I know the fanboys are going to be pissed off. And that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. We'll know the whole movie long before it ever premieres here. But I mean, that's how the rest of the world usually feels with movies. There's some countries that get the film like months after they premieres here. So, yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Them's the breaks, kid. And speaking of coronavirus delays, we have some more here. Disney Plus is... Man, for what little good news they get, it's just a bunch of bad news. Which is fun to make fun of them because they're stupid in terms of how they're handling their creative standpoint, but also for how little they actually filmed in this situation. We're going to mention it, a lot of Netflix stories. Netflix makes so much content. They're $15 billion in debt, and yet they have at least 2 shows and a movie every single Friday. So and of course the variety. So they, it was supposed to happen that in August, Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first of the MCU Disney Plus spinoffs, was supposed to happen. That's not happening. WandaVision has apparently been delayed from its date in December to spring of 2021. What I find interesting about this is that, for one, they're not finished because coronavirus got in the way of both of their productions. But the other thing is, I wonder if there may be a reverse MCU problem, because remember, part of the appeal of these shows was it's all connected, but for reals this time, right? So wasn't WandaVision supposed to be promoting or supposed to be released alongside Doctor Strange in theaters?
Yeah,
And
there's supposed to be some level of connection.
And is it possible like a show like WandaVision is going to be naturally delayed to be closer and closer to Doctor Strange whenever that is released in theaters? That the fact that it's interconnected may, in a weird way, work against whenever these shows appear on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they might have to move the shows even further just to match up with the
That's
movies.
hilarious.
Maybe not. I don't know.
That's hilarious because they need shit right now, and that would do the job. And oh, you can't do it. Oh, poor you. If only there was something, MCU related that you had on the shelf, that, was about 13 episodes or so that you could have, had on Disney Plus, if you really wanted to. And
I can't think of anything.
On there. I can't think of anything either, right? But I'm sure there must have been something. Something.
It was probably too trash to even throw on.
Well,
Disney Plus.
Trash is subjective, right? That may be your opinion, but facts don't care about your feelings, I should say. And the facts bared that in some European markets, if not all of them, they looked for this show the most, and it was the most popular show on the service.
Yeah, but it seems like they're perfectly fine with it not being there right now. So
I don't think anyone
certainly hasn't affected Disney Plus sales. So.
Well, there's nothing on the service, and people are canceling their subscriptions.
I don't see any sort of hashtag trending for said show anywhere on Twitter.
Well, America doesn't care about this show. There's no question about that. But it's something, and if you're looking for content, that would have done the job. But that's not happening at all.
Maybe it's worse than something.
Yeah. Are you gonna watch these shows when they come out?
Watch what?
These Disney Plus Marvel shows.
If I got nothing better to do, I'm not looking forward to them. Maybe Wanda. Maybe looking forward to Wanda a little bit.
I did read that they filmed it in front of a live studio audience. From what that's worth.
It seems like they're trying to do some fun stuff with it. Very much connected to the comics, because you have to connect it to the comics. So that could be cool. But like the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, I don't know. That just seems like a Captain America movie without Captain America.
Like a Batman show without Batman.
Yeah. Hawkeye, they never did Hawkeye justice. They always did him dirty in my eyes.
You mean the costume?
The costume is one of many things, yes, which they did dirty. But come on, just in a boring fucking whatever the fuck he was wearing, black suit, whatever. Like, get creative. You got creative with everyone else's costume except for fucking Hawkeye's. Anyways, I just think they never really did that character justice much. We'll see what the show does with him. Maybe maybe a character like that can thrive on a smaller screen, We'll see. Literally nothing I've shown so far gets me excited at all.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
All right, well, speaking of Disney Plus, here is something else that they're planning. They've announced that The Bad Batch, which was a big part of the 7th season of the Clone Wars, is getting its own animated series. to drop sometime in early 2021, based on these clone troopers who are picking up the pieces and looking for other brothers of theirs after the events of Order 66, which is basically that rumor that was about more and more Clone Wars. A couple of things about this, but your initial impression on this, Mr. Martinez. I can't imagine it's positive.
That was it.
All right. So from what I'm hearing is this show has been done for a long time. This was ordered. So the same people, we did a show a few weeks back. We have spoken about the upcoming Rebels animated sequel series that you and I had some favorable feelings about what that would be, what that would look like. The same people who talked about that show, Kessel Run Transmissions, actually had reported on this a few weeks ago. So when the news was dropped, it wasn't a surprise to me. I had been anticipating it. But what was not clear is which one would come first, whether it be Bad Batch or it would be the Rebels sequel animated series. From what I read, Bad Batch was ordered back in 2018 alongside when the Clone Wars was basically brought back for its final season.
Oh.
Which means this is a way for... It seems as if Disney was very happy with Clone Wars, especially how it was well received, and that this is more that they could add on to it with that. It's desperately something that they need because they don't have any Star Wars shit. And on that point, the Kessel Run Transmissions people speculated that perhaps they're saving... with Bad Batch being in 2021 or early 2021, that they're saving that Rebels sequel series for late 2021 and not late 2020 because of the lack of live action Star Wars material there'll be in 2021, where they had scheduled, I believe, at least it would have been Mandalorian Season 3, the Cassian Andor show, or other stuff they had in the pipeline that would have been filmed, will not and will be delayed because of COVID-19.
That's
so
smart to try and spread out their shit.
Right. So that's where the speculation is at. But if that's the case, that's all they have then, is just Bad Batch and the Rebels sequel series that would be ready to go. And they can continue working on that because it is animated.
Yeah. I could not give two shits about this. Like, genuinely do not care about a Bad Batch television show. It's more Clone Wars characters, literally the fucking clones, and it's gonna take place after Order 66, and it's gonna be clones and stormtroopers, and you'll have your Darth Vader cameo, you'll have your Ahsoka Tano cameo.
That sounds like every other Star Wars show in development.
You'll have all your Clone Wars characters cameo. You'll probably see like a fucking young what's his name from Rebels? Fuck. The one who
Kanan Jarrus.
Kane, yeah, you'll see like a fucking young Kanan. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, like, I aggressively don't care. Aggressively. and I just try and think about what this show could be, and all I could think of is it feels like it's probably just amalgamation of throwaway concepts they had for Clone Wars episodes that they're just turning into its own show.
Well, this show is basically what I think the description said. It's just them catching up with Clone of the Week. And, hey, where were you during the Battle of Order 66?
I don't care. I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
I'm so over
But that being said,
these characters in this time period. From a business standpoint, yeah, it's something to dump, and it's more Clone Wars. So people... It's the Clone Wars. It's not Star Wars anymore. It's the Clone Wars cinematic universe. And people will eat it up because they gotta go like, oh my gosh, this character's connected to this character that happened at the same time. And the lore,
considering how poorly Disney Plus has been doing as far as like getting projects out of the gate and getting anything greenlit, the fact that something as simple as this is sad. It's sad that this is all they have. But it should go a long way because, the Star Wars fans, the only ones really showing up for Disney Plus, and they'll like this. This is what they want. They love the clones, and they love the animated shows. They love Filoni, and they wanted more stuff that's Clone Wars adjacent. It's everything they asked for, and it should be good for business at least.
It should. I just don't care. This is like, it's not even. It's just so boring. Who gives a fuck about the Bad Batch? But is it any more boring? Is it any more boring than any of the other things they've announced? Yes.
I don't think so.
I aggressively
who gives a fuck
do not care
Cassian Andor?
About the Bad Batch.
Who gives a fuck about the Mandalorian? I mean, I aggressively don't care about the Mandalorian character as a character. I aggressively don't care about Cassian Andor as a TV show.
Yoda, though. It's a cute little baby Yoda.
So it's like, as opposed to what? Everything else to me sounds boring as hell with the exception of one show.
This sounds infinitely more boring. We've already seen all of this shit before, just now with characters that we don't give a fuck about.
Maybe. Well,
I
personally don't see it as negatively as you. I think it's harmless relatively, considering with anything else that they're giving us from Star Wars. It's not exciting to me. It's not something I'm necessarily looking forward to be clear about that. And it also speaks to the lack of creativity as to what they're doing with Disney Plus. But I mean, it's just more confirmation about what you and I have been talking about, which is not what we want at all. We want something new with Star Wars, but it's very clear that you and I are unlike the majority of Star Wars fans, where they just want
100%.
more of the same characters. And in fact, it was kind of a Freudian slip. I was listening to this podcast, the Star Wars fans, who are very much happy about this, and they said, it's focusing. It looks like Disney Plus is focusing on characters that we love, and instead of new characters, which is great. That's what we want. That was the quote.
Instead of new characters, which is, it's
it's what they want.
Oh God, Star Wars fans are so boring. They're just so boring.
Well, it's the same as the MCU fans. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Now, those could be interesting, but they don't look like they're going to be interesting. They just look like a Marvel movie. And those characters, to be fair, with Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, those characters could be better serviced in a television show than in their own films. But they won't.
WandaVision looks like it's trying to do something unique with it.
I hope you're right.
I still think Star Wars fans are worse than Marvel fans, because it's with Star Wars fans, we just keep going. It's literally the same timeline. Like, we can't progress forward.
I don't even care about that. It's
Marvel,
just the same characters.
You can progress forward.
It's just the same characters over and over again.
Yeah, that too. But it's the same characters in the same time and place.
Or in
Order
different
66,
timelines.
Order 66, Order 66, Order 66.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't understand where the excitement comes from when every show that's announced feels like the exact same show. It feels and sounds it because it features the exact same cast. Like, with it being Cassian Andor, or Ahsoka's own live action show, or The Mandalorian, or the Rebel sequel series, or this Bad Batch series.
What's it called? The Obi-Wan.
Right. With all of that, it's like, it's the same rotation of characters being swapped in and out. I find that, I think when you said unbelievably boring, I think that's the wrong term. I think it's horrifying that this is all that they're doing. And it's beyond monotonous, beyond boring. You're making all of these shows feel like the same thing. And it's like,
they want it to feel like the same thing, though, because then it feels like an interconnected universe to them.
Yeah. I think you can do that without doing this, though. It's just so incredibly lazy to just put the same character in everything.
From their let's say Disney executives, Disney Plus, Lucasfilm, whatever. From their lazy perspective, what do you foresee their next shows being? I'm trying
Every
to see.
single. I mean,
young Kanan show, as he tries is the following him after escaping Order 66.
they did
Prequel
that in a
Kanan.
comic book.
Well, bring it back. I'm trying to think what are the characters? What's the shit that they would do?
Well, I'm sure this would be very popular. A live-action Darth Vader series.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. I have to see what the concept is. I mean, there are the Vader comics that are very popular, but the reaction to that Vader sequence in Rogue One was overwhelmingly positive, to say the least.
But I think their answer to that is the Cassian Andor series, which doesn't make sense.
None of those make sense, to be honest with you. I mean, the concept of the Mandalorian is very much in contradiction with each other, with the elements that they're about to introduce to that series. I mean, weren't there, I don't know, rumors, or you think that they would do, based on how popular it is, the Knights of the Old Republic? That would be a big show on streaming, I would imagine, if they commit to it.
They're eventually
I know,
do it.
again, it's not something that you and I are interested or excited about, but it wouldn't be, oh, this character, but a different age and a different timeline. And
I think there's such a fan outcry for it. It eventually will happen. But I think for the Disney heads currently, they're like, well, that's not what we're selling.
Right.
You know, we're selling Yoda plushies. We're selling, Vader lightsabers. We're selling stormtroopers. We're selling X-Wings. There's no X-Wings in the Old Republic. There's no... All our Lego sets, they're in the here and now. They very much want to keep it in the Empire, Rebels, those, Atwalkers. That's the shit they're selling. So I think they have this unwillingness to leave that because of it. Which is fucking stupid. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I guess if you're looking from a money perspective, whatever.
Let me ask you this question. Provided the actors agreed to it, and they've all said they won't. But provided they did agree to it, and Disney Plus gave them the green light, what do you think of the concept of following Rey, Finn, and Poe after Episode 9?
I think that would actually make a great show. Because I have ideas for what you could do. Like I do.
I think that would. I'm interested in what that would look like.
You wouldn't get the cast voices, but
you wouldn't. But at the same time, can you really recover after the disaster that was the Rise of Skywalker post that? I mean, I think you can. You just try to.
I have some ideas what you could do. They're basically retcons, but yeah.
Well, Finn had a story arc in development, I guess.
Yeah,
the movie never did explore it, but he could be a Jedi in training.
You could follow through with Finn. I'll be honest, I would bring Kylo back to life.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, obviously, you figure out some bullshit story reason to bring him back to life.
If they can bring Darth Maul back to life, we can bring back Kylo Ren.
I would bring back Kylo Ren, because that would be the most interesting shit you could run with, right? That's what they should have done, because it would have been...
But wouldn't some people say, well, isn't that the same thing as bringing back Palpatine?
No, it's like bringing back Maul.
Yeah.
Because you're not bringing back Kylo to be the villain.
Exactly, yeah.
You're bringing him back to actually develop his character the way it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you could have some cool shit where you just see them exploring going around the galaxy trying to fix shit. I don't know. I feel like there's...
It would be... I think there's interest there. There's potential where that could go. Obviously, it would be a really headlining, monumental event if they did it live action, but the actors they won't do it.
They would never do it.
So it would have to be animated, which I wouldn't mind. That sounds interesting.
I'll put it this way.
And I like those characters.
I hope it never happens, because I know the show would suck. I know the version of the show in my head that I'm like, this could work, will not be the version of the show that's made. So I don't want it. Even if
would a name that you like change your mind about that?
What do you mean a name?
All right, this animated series that you have in your mind. Do you have a name, like a director or a writer?
No. Me, I'm the director and writer.
Oh, okay.
Because it's more of just general story ideas,
I'm guessing, like, who would they have to announce? Who would they have to attach to this project to make you excited that they could actually pull this off well? I guess that was my question.
Like no one, honestly.
Rian Johnson? He wouldn't do it.
Rian Johnson wouldn't do an animated show.
I ask you, though, if in some weird way the Rian Johnson stuff is still happening with Star Wars. Granted, Disney may be nervous about the potentiality of the success, as crazy as it is to believe, because Last Jedi was amazingly successful. They may be nervous about putting another Rian Johnson Star Wars movie in theaters, but why can't we just do it for Disney Plus? Would you be opposed to that?
Yeah.
You're still gonna get it.
But no. It's a principle thing. I want it in theaters. Or don't make it at all.
But isn't that the very thing you attack people for?
But the principle here isn't that the theaters is better. The principle is I want shitheads to cry.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to Netflix news that is going on in the world this week. This news was so strange. I can imagine Peter was very... I don't know if he laughed or if he cried when I shared this with him. I'm curious to know what your reaction was. But we're now going to talk about The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Yeah, it's Netflix. The $200 million... All right.
Okay, I just remembered. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So The Gray Man is in development at Netflix. The biggest budget they've ever given one of their movies, $200 million. Well, reportedly. I don't know how much they gave Irishman. It could have been more than that. But that's what is being said about. It is a spy thriller that will star Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, and will be directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, and written by Joe Russo, Chris Marcus, and Steve McFeely.
I mean, I'm sure Alexis had to change his pants after hearing that news.
I can't even tell you what I'm thinking. is how incredible this is. Like, before we get to the details about this, I mean, to have a little fun, you cannot possibly write a more you can't possibly write down a project that I would be more interested in. What I'm trying to say is, if I gave Peter the assignment to like make up, like pull something out of his ass and then attach the right names to it to get me excited about it, this is what it would be. This is this is exactly what it would be.
Suffice to say, you're a little excited for this project.
This is the most excited I've been for a project in years.
But do you even know what the movie's about?
It's a spy movie. It's an action movie. That's all I need to know. I don't care. I mean, what does it matter what it's about? Like, these are, I keep thinking of that GIF, that I saw that's from the Cinderella movie. It's like a dream, a wonderful dream come true. Like that's how like out of left field this feels like. It's like somebody reached into my mind and pulled something out and like made it reality. Like, holy fuck.
Now you got to remember, it's 2020. So in about a month, you're probably going to be reading a headline how this shit was canceled. How the project fell apart.
It's so perfect. Like, I love the Russos as directors. I love Marcus and McFeely
working with
as
the Russos.
writers and working with the Russos. Absolutely. The fact that this is like Netflix, giving this $200 million, and that they're doing this to start a franchise, mind you, of a series of these movies. But I mean, it's just a cherry on top to have Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans in a movie together. I have no words for how excited, and in many different ways, that makes me.
Oh God!
To see this movie, I think I'm in love with the news story. Like, I cannot contain how excited I am about this. I know you probably hate this, but I love it.
I don't know what it's about.
This is based off, I think The Gray Man is supposed to be like, it's an adaptation of a book series, I feel. It's a spy thriller series. I think it's supposed to star Ryan Gosling, so he should be like signing up for a reoccurring number of films. Netflix sees this as their potential next big franchise. This comes off the heels of Extraction, which was a Russo brothers produced movie, being named the most popular movie at Netflix. So there's a lot going on here.
Cool.
I haven't seen it yet. It was?
Yeah. It definitely was. I guess I'm kind of tired of spy thrillers. They're all running together as like the same movie to me.
Right. The trades said that this was Jason Bourne-esque.
Oh God! Like,
I mean, well, the trade. Well, hold on. Let me clarify. Some like I think the Russos themselves likened this to the Prestige of James Bond. Some people said it was more along the lines of Jason Bourne, which I mean, they're good movies. I'm not interested in them. I mean, the Bourne franchise was successful. The Bond franchise is successful. So is the Mission Impossible one was really good.
I do like the Mission Impossibles. Those are.
So I mean, they can work.
My favorite ones are the Mission Impossibles and the Kingsman, because they forget, the pretense of the spy shit and just go for the spectacle. But even then, I don't know if they're like. Except for maybe Kingsman to me, because I like the over-the-top goofiness of it. It's not like, fuck yeah, I'm so excited for the next one. Like, even with Mission Impossible, it's like, oh yeah, those are fun, I'll catch the next one. But I don't know if I have like a whole fuck yeah, I can't wait for this movie type. I don't know if I have that for any spy films, except for like the Kingsman ones.
Yeah, and I feel like, to be clear, I'm not excited about this because it's a spy movie.
Yeah, but I guess...
I'm excited about this because everyone was attached. Like, I mean, in case it wasn't made clear, Evans and Gosling are among my favorite actors ever.
Oh, God, you've made it very clear.
This should have been made very clear. Like, I love them. Like, legitimately do it. I love all their work. I mean, I think they're great.
I've been through your iPad. You've made it very clear. No.
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, come on. There's nothing on that iPad.
You had to think about it.
My phone, on the other hand, I'm not sure.
Oh
that.
no,
that could be different.
What was
But
I
that
gonna
phone's
say?
locked.
Yeah, I know. I tried. I guess my question is, all these people are very talented, and obviously that gets me excited. But because of the source material, it makes me go like, how
excited can I let myself be in a kind of movie that I'm not necessarily all that thrilled for?
like how much can their talent elevate
Mm-hmm.
the source material, right?
It's like me getting excited about, like, I'll tell you, because I'm so like done with this movie, this kind of movie. It would make me legitimately angry if, let's say, keep all the names, but instead of it being a spy thriller, it was a war drama.
Yeah.
That would legitimately make me angry because I'm so done. I'm unbelievably done with those movies.
That's the thing. It's like all of these are talented, but just that genre of film, it's just, no matter how good it is, it's just very much like, okay, been
very
here,
blah
done that. Like,
yeah.
Like even the films that everyone says like, oh my god, it's a masterpiece. And it's like, maybe, but like, I'm over it.
Like, yeah, I mean, two great examples of this. Films that were objectively good, like Dunkirk and, what was the other one, 1917?
Yeah.
Great. There's some great craft on there. I don't care at all about those movies, but there was good stuff about them. I'll never watch them again.
That's my biggest fear for this film.
Yeah.
Is that it's that kind of movie where it's like, it's an incredibly well-made movie, but I kind of don't care. That's my worry.
I should also, right. There is supposed to be, I don't know if, I guess it was going to come out next year, but there is another Russo-directed movie that was supposed to come out before this. I forget what it was called, but it was supposed to star Tom Holland, I think. But then I forget what it was about. But yeah. Interesting you liked Extraction.
Never heard of her.
Interesting you liked Extraction. I may have to look at that.
I did. It's basically like fucking war-torn John Wick. That's
Hemsworth is good, I assume?
Huh?
Hemsworth is good?
Oh yeah, he's good. You know,
he's a really good actor.
He sells the action hero shit so well.
Yeah.
He's a professional at this point when it comes to all that shit. And the action's real good, yeah.
There's a couple of other things about this that's major. So, first and foremost, considering how much money that the Russos, Marcus and McFeely, have made Disney, and considering that Disney likes to keep their people with them, like Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
What happened there?
I think as far as those two, they're like, we did our time, we got the clout, now we're gonna go and make the shit that we want to make, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think they want to be attached to fucking, I don't know, Pinocchio remake.
Which is happening.
Like they don't want to do another Marvel. Maybe they'll do a Star Wars, but I don't think that's high on their list. They don't want to do another Disney live action remake. I think they're like, we did our shit, we did our time, we're out. Now we have the clout, we have the what's it called, social currency within Hollywood, to be able to go and make make basically whatever the fuck they want. And I mean, yeah, like Netflix gave them their highest budget ever. That should tell you something.
You can't, as far as whatever opportunity may have existed for them at Disney, they've said that they may do another Marvel like years down the line. Maybe they like, of course, they're big fans of Star Wars, so they could do it. But how do you top what they've already done with at Disney? Like the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, I think it's more of a just never say never type thing when they talk about doing a Marvel film down the line.
Yeah, it's not at all their priority. I think clearly what they're most concerned about is making sure that their production company is healthy and doing well. Like I mentioned, that they have directed a movie, but that's not been released yet. 21 Bridges and Extraction are films from their new production studio. No one liked 21 Bridges from what I heard, but a lot of people liked Extraction. So
it feels like all their films that they're making are like, you know, like realistic action thrillers.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't know. I think that's kind of weird.
But I feel like it got off to a rocky start. People seem to have rebounded with Extraction, at least. I'm not sure about critics, but it seems as if like most people like that movie.
Yeah.
But I think they understand that they can't slack with the quality. So the fact that they themselves are directing this movie for their production company, which would be the first one, says a lot about how much they want this to really work off well. And you're right. I mean, now the Russos are basically with Netflix for the foreseeable future. That's a long-term investment, especially if this is successful. This is basically guaranteeing a series of movies, a series of high-budgeted blockbuster movies for Netflix, which is good for them and Netflix.
It's not like Disney would let them make these movies. Like, let's be real. Fucking Disney isn't producing Extraction.
No.
So, fuck it. And I'm sure they don't want to herald a Disney Plus series. They'd rather be doing this shit. Which, I mean, I would too.
I mean, yeah, so good for them. Good for Netflix too. Like, think about that much money. Like, they spent $100 million on Shonda Rhimes alone. They spent $300 million on Ryan Murphy.
Oh my God. Did you see that new Ryan Murphy political show?
The Politician?
Within the first 5 seconds of the trailer, I had no idea what it was or who produced it. Within the first 5 seconds, I'm like, oh God, this is Ryan Murphy, isn't it?
Well, that's season 2. Season 1 happened last year.
Oh, did it? Okay. So,
yeah.
But I saw a trailer produced for it. I'm like, oh, fuck. Because it was... Oh, I hated it with the fury of 1,000 Suns. And I'm sure you watched it and liked it.
No. I haven't seen any Ryan Murphy series. None of them. I haven't. The only one I saw was Glee, and that was years ago. But I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll like it. I'm sure I'll like it, but I haven't seen them. But here's the thing, though. Maybe dropping $300 million on him wasn't a mistake, because it seems as if his content is very, very popular.
Which one?
The Politician.
Is it popular?
The Hollywood series. The other, I mean, it seems as if his stuff sells really, really well on Netflix.
I'm trying to think. What is it?
It was, yeah. I mean, they have a top 10 trending. I mean, I people talked a lot about it. I would assume it was popular.
I don't even remember it existed. Like, I only found it existed because they have that preview button on Netflix. That's the only way I found out.
Yeah, it's not your cup of tea at all.
Hell no.
But yeah, that's a lot of fucking money. And again, considering that the company is $15 billion in debt, but there is something remarkable because there have been some changes, and we should get straight at this. And I didn't know this until I read the headline, but the chief creative officer for Netflix is Ted Sarandos, not Reed Hastings. Reed Hastings is the founder. But guess what happened? So they named Ted Sarandos co-CEO alongside Reed Hastings.
Oh, wow.
That's a big shakeup.
I guess they really liked his work.
I mean, it's working off really well. I should tell you right now, they gained 26 million subscribers in the last 2 quarters with coronavirus. 10 million of which...
I think coronavirus gave him a little push.
Yeah. 10 million of which, of those 26 million, are brand new subscribers to Netflix.
That's fucking huge.
And it sets up this interesting like tale of two cities, right? Like, well, any other studio or company, in which case like Netflix is both a company and a studio, they're suffering right now because they can't make anything. They have nothing to show. Netflix doesn't have any of those problems. They're thriving in this this current age of coronavirus.
Because they have a huge backlog of shit.
A lot of it their own. Most of it their own now, because a lot of the studios have pulled off. I mean, this is the week that Peacock, the NBC Universal streaming service, debuted. I've seen no excitement over it, on top of the fact that it's not on Roku.
But it has The Office.
Yeah. So that's big news.
You fuckers need to put your shit on Roku, okay? Everyone uses Roku. Put it on Roku.
Yeah. Both Peacock and HBO Max have not put it on Roku.
Most people use Roku. And
yeah.
Like, if you read the fucking, what's it called? The articles, everyone's like, you guys eventually have to put it on Roku. Like, you're not going to be truly successful until you do that shit. But then I guess there's argument over, like, ad revenue. Because I guess Roku usually has, like, a 70-30 split.
Yeah.
No, not 70-30. Yeah, 70-30 split, with Roku getting 30, and then the streaming service getting 70. But I think, I don't know if it was HBO Max or this Peacock, but they're trying to, negotiate down to 15 for Roku and stuff. And it's like, God damn it. Don't be stupid, guys.
Peacock even went so far as to, and this is really weird, but evidently if you plug in an HDMI cable to your computer on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
it won't. Peacock will not appear on the TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They're trying to strong arm Roku.
Holy fuck. I guess. Okay. Roku, hold your ground.
Yeah, but even with the streaming services, I find it like, look, I feel like this is all good news for Netflix. And I'm very happy because I think far and away they are the best at what they do. They are the original, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so sad to see all these other like streamers just completely flailing on themselves. Like, at least Disney Plus was able to like land. Like fucking like Warner Brothers and Universal, their streamers are like, they can't even get on Roku, and that's kind of a non-starter, as you say. And then for Disney Plus, they have no content.
Yeah.
Whereas Netflix, they're killing it every week. So much like wonderful variety of content as well. Like, and they spent that money, but I think it's working off in strides for this time.
To be fair to them, they had a very much a head start. They were able to go through those growing pains when they were the only child. But
I also feel like a lot of the growing pains, quote unquote, that NBC, Disney, and Warner Brothers are experiencing are self-inflicted wounds that were like apparent and obvious and could have definitely been avoided.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with the Disney side, they really fucked themselves over because it seems like they had a real problem committing to the shit they wanted to make on there.
Yes.
Announcing shit and then having it fall apart and then not really deciding how it would go. And then they really seem to not have a grasp on... They have a real identity crisis with Disney Plus.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something that's unique to them that none of the other streamers have to deal with, because all the other ones are perfectly fine having everything from G-rated to R-rated content, and it's like, yeah, whatever. You segregate the kids stuff from the more adult stuff, but Disney's like, oh no, we're a family company. We'll show people's heads cut off, but we can't show that butt. Let's blur out that booty. We'll show the Hulk's butt, but not this other butt. And the Hulk's thick, so it's like, why don't you cover his butt? I don't know. It's weird.
Or Hugh Jackman. That made news. When Days of Future Past dropped on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't edit that out.
They didn't edit his butt. Maybe they're being sexist.
We're talking about editing butts here. Like, really, that's how far that's what your priority is. You've lost, honestly. And as far as HBO Max is concerned, they've lagged. Their debut was a mess, but from the stories that we've covered, they're quickly catching up in terms of like the stuff that they've announced as programming. While we may not be excited about it, it is stuff that will translate, I think, to a lot of attention. Like with the Zack Snyder stuff, the Doom Patrol, the Matt Reeves series, Harley Quinn, Justice League Dark, all that stuff. It's not a good headline when like today they're gonna lose all of the Harry Potter movies for whatever reason. That's not fun.
I think overall, though, like I've looked at their selection, there's good shit. Like there's a lot of stuff where it's like, yeah, I definitely want to watch this.
Right. They're not entirely like good. At the moment, they're not great on original programming. I think that they've announced stuff that's exciting that will be on the way. I mean, right now they have the Looney Tunes stuff, which I saw some of and that I really liked it. Yeah, it was good. So, yeah. But I think all the credit to Netflix, and I have more stuff here with Netflix and as far as they're concerned, because, I mean, Ted Sarandos, for him to be named co-CEO, that's a big deal. And I should also mention, I believe you're a fan of this show with Jason Bateman called Ozark, right?
It's very good. Yes.
Okay. Because I have been... I follow Gold Derby, and you should follow Gold Derby if you're interested about like where the awards are at. But for the upcoming Emmys, which are still happening virtually next month, Ozark, this recent season of Ozark, is in the hunt for a potential nomination and maybe upset for best drama series.
Ooh, it doesn't have much competition, so that's good.
I think its competition is primarily Succession, the HBO series.
Oh, that one's pretty good too.
So,
and the winner is Game of Thrones.
Has Netflix? They've never won that before, right? The Emmy Best Drama Series.
I have no idea. Fuck the Emmys.
I think The Handmaid's Tale won, but that's Hulu.
Yeah, that's Hulu.
So Netflix has never won Best Drama or maybe even Best Comedy, from what I know. So this would be a big thing if Ozark, and it is recent. So from what I understand, that helps. Ozark, the latest season, was far more recent than Succession, and Ozark is coming up on its last year, right?
It is last season.
Yeah. Oh, I remember Ozark did win some awards last year. I think it won for directing at the Emmys.
Oh.
And then Jason Bateman won at the Screen Actors Guild Awards for this show, surprisingly. So it is getting traction, which again speaks to Netflix slowly climbing that, hierarchical ladder in Hollywood. I wonder, though, what that means for whatever they have planned for the Academy Awards, since they've allowed streamers to be in consideration for Best Movie. I wonder what Netflix has in store for us this year.
I'm excited.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, get this, broke a major record on Netflix. So this year they've unveiled like the top 10 of the day or of the week or whatever. And The Last Airbender broke a record by being in the top 10 chart for 60 consecutive days.
These goddamn millennials and their airbenders.
Which I think also speaks to the popularity of the series maybe being greater now than it ever was when it was airing.
There's definitely a real resurgence of love for this series.
And it makes me think, ooh, they better hope they did not mess up that live action series.
They did, though. I don't think it's possible. I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be not awesome. I'm going to be honest.
Awesome. Yeah, you're going to be awesome by being honest. Yeah.
I'm going to be really awesome at being honest. I don't think it's possible for them to pull off a live action Avatar series. If they're going to follow the same events as the cartoon, it's not.
That was their first mistake.
That was their mistake, because they're never going to be able to reach that greatness. It's just not possible. Yeah. Like, even if they had the perfect cast and each episode had the budget of a film, you're still it's still not animated, so you don't have that same frenetic humor and a lot of the action scenes. And two,
that works in animation and not so much in live action.
Yes, that's very, I think, key to the tone of Avatar. But also, you're not gonna beat nostalgia. You're just not. I take it from J.J. Abrams. Even if you give people exactly what they had from their childhood, all they're gonna say is, "Man, I really wish that missed that original thing from my childhood." All this new thing is gonna make them think about is how much better the original is.
Yeah,
they really fucked up. They should have just done another animated series. We should have gotten the Avatar after Korra. That's what they should have done.
What about a live action Avatar series, but a different story?
Yeah, that could work too. If they really need the live action aspect, 100% that could work too.
They still have the world. They can still play in that world.
Yeah, 100%.
They wouldn't lose that.
Mm-hmm. That's what they should have done. And maybe there's still hope. They can go all Disney Plus and announce multiple Avatar projects. They might be doing that right now. They went, holy fuck, people really like their avatars.
Well, that's what that's a really interesting part about this, because there's a lot of other stuff that they could have done that maybe is not necessarily more interesting, but that would have made more sense. Because the first thing you can do, straight up, and this can be a miniseries, limited series, it doesn't even matter. Again, putting our personal interest to the side, because it's not something that we would be excited for, but they can definitely take the Disney Plus approach, and like what they're doing with Bad Batch on Disney Plus, just bring in the characters in their most popular iteration, continue it in a different adventure series. Again, that wouldn't be the most exciting thing in the world, but it would capitalize on the immediate success of these characters.
Yeah.
And it would be very popular. You could also do an Avatar Kyoshi animated series. There's so many, or another, as you say, one that follows Korra even further down the line. There's a lot of things that you could do.
Give the fans exactly what they want. Adult Aang show.
Oh, wait, is that what they want?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That could work. Okay.
Because, and I would be cool with it, because at the very least, you're not trying to recapture the magic of the original show when you can't.
Right.
You just can't. It's not possible. So at the very least, it's a continuation from that show. So,
Right.
Everyone that grew up with it, and it doesn't feel the need to be one-to-one. So you have nostalgia, but you don't have expectations for what it needs to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I could see adult.
I mean, that would be interesting if you do an adult Aang series, and if you do it in live action.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it that would be maybe a more natural, with the original series being animated, being more kid friendly, but with them being adults, it won't be. The tone will be completely different, obviously. Yeah. So with the characters being aged up into adulthood, you have more, I guess, free reign to play in live action rather than stick to the original DNA in animation.
Now, what would they be fighting against? Who fucking knows? That's where you got to get creative. Especially.
So you and I agree that they probably. This was they probably bit off more than they could chew on this, and I think it was always going to be it was always going to be, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was never going to be anywhere near as good.
Yeah,
which is the problem with live action remakes in general.
Yeah,
which is just don't do the same. Don't do the same thing literally again. We already have it.
Especially if it's considered perfection, basically.
Yeah.
Like, why do that to yourself? Unless it's going to be
Remind
something
me
completely
here, though.
different.
Right, Peter. Okay, remind me. Are the people the same writers and creators that worked on the animated series working on the live action one?
Yes, they will oversee it.
I wonder from like a creative standpoint how that would be enriching to do the same thing over again. And I wonder
I assume
does that go ahead.
That this was going to happen anyway. But they gave them an opportunity to come in and do it, quote unquote, right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, well, if it's going to happen anyway, let's be there to make it not another Shyamalan.
Terrible. Oh my God.
Yeah. But my hope is, I'm going to be honest, I'm not excited for that show. And for obvious reasons. I've said it. But my hope is...
It seems doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Because of the concept anyway.
My hope is that this resurgence in love for the world of Avatar, especially, with this news about how popular the show is on Netflix, that's got Netflix executives going, like, hey, can you give us some extra Avatar content? They're
already working with Paramount and Nickelodeon in general. They've announced a deal.
They've already got.
That's where they get a lot of their G content is coming from anyway. So they can do it.
Be like, hey, can we get another animated Avatar series? I think that would kill on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
And then also you can make it slightly more adult oriented because it's on Netflix. Which I think would actually work really well.
On streaming. It's like a match made in heaven, all of that. Yeah, I agree.
I think it would be fucking fantastic.
I hope that the live action show doesn't torpedo all those plans. If
well,
they're
the hope
in motion.
is that they're already in motion before that live action show even comes out. So
right.
No backsies.
Well, I mean, is it... I guess if the question is it doomed to fail, I think you and I, as far as failing to live up to expectations, for sure, 100%. Is it doomed to be trash, though?
Well,
I would think that it would at least be better than Mandalorian.
It's similar.
Right?
It's similar to when we were talking about the live-action Disney remakes.
Uh-huh.
Sure, this film might not be the hottest of garbage, but... You might even say, hey, it's good, and I might even feel emotional at moments in here and there. But how much is that because this product in itself is actually good? And how much is it just because it's just directly taking from something infinitely better and just doing it again? Like, I don't know.
I remember you and I had that conversation so many times on Daily News Crew.
And I gotta be fair, that was not an attack on Disney. It was serious criticism of the concept in of itself.
Right.
And this does feel like a Disney live action remake. Just the show version of that.
Right.
So a lot of those similar criticisms remain, where it's like...
Which, again, from a business standpoint, I mean, that model is a proven success.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, from a financial standpoint, I should say. From a critical standpoint, not nearly so.
Avatar fans aren't Disney fans, though. Disney fans will take anything.
That's true. You're right. Not litigating that factor. But from what I hear from the Morenos, there are some similarities between the Avatar fandom and the Star Wars fandom, and oh boy.
There is. That's why. That's another reason why I say you're not going to be able to succeed. Because apparently there's a good portion that like genuinely really hates Korra. And it's like, if you hate Korra, I don't know if you'll love this live action shit. I don't want to start hearing...
And watch they come out and say that it's good. Just watch.
I mean, I'd much prefer that than, Netflix raped my childhood. or you start to hear that kind of shit, you know, and it's just like, oh no, not this again.
The people versus Netflix.
The people versus Netflix. They ruined it. You get to have 100 YouTube videos about how forced SJW politics ruined Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series. It would have been so much better if, you know, Katara's actress hadn't said, wouldn't it be great if women weren't treated like dog shit? She completely would insert politics into it.
I mean, that's going to be an annoying conversation to have, right? Because the show, in and of itself, the original show, does insert politics, quote unquote. And when the live action inevitably does that, I can already see it happening, is that the live action show is going to be attacked for doing the exact same thing that the original show did, but they're not. That's a stupid conversation just waiting to happen. Why do I know it's...
Yeah. That's another reason why I'm not excited about the show. Because I know I'm going to be disappointed, and then the conversations around it are just going to be cancerous ass.
Toxic.
Yeah.
It's like a lose-lose almost.
It kind of is. Unless it brings the opportunity of other Avatar productions, whether they be live action or animated.
I imagine they have to be coming considering how successful this is.
Yeah. If I'm Netflix, I'm like, hey, I know we already got an Avatar thing working, but you guys got anything else up your sleeve? Because this is something they can turn into their property, right? Because I'd imagine Netflix is probably looking for franchises.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about that. The Gray Man.
Uh-huh.
That's the beginning of a franchise. Extraction, I think, was also going to get a sequel of some sort. So they're looking for franchises.
If you
in movies, but then also as far as TV shows are considered.
But if you can have multiple different TV shows, franchises, again, similar to Disney Plus, it's like multiple Disney shows, multiple Marvel shows. If you can, you know, have something like that, but except with Avatar, yeah, fucking go for it.
You can even do something like specials. Like, what if they bring back the original voice cast of The Last Airbender and just do like a movie special or something, an animated movie special of some sort? That would work.
Yeah, I agree.
I should also mention that Avatar broke a record previously held by Ozark, which was 57 consecutive days. So, also showing how strong Ozark is performing as well.
Just in time to be canceled.
Well, speaking of Hannibal, we talked about this, I think, in a weird way a few weeks back, that what if Netflix is looking at Hannibal? What? Go ahead.
What am I telling you? I don't know what's going on. We got a little bit of the magic in us right now. We talk about these stories, give it a week or two, bada boom. It's making headlines. That's all I'm saying.
We talked about maybe if Hannibal was being looked at by Netflix for picking it up. I mean, they have a record of picking up other shows like Lucifer from Fox, and it seems as if the showrunner of Hannibal is now going to the papers and saying he is hopeful about a season 4 renewal of Hannibal.
He's been dropping some strong indications that, like, we'll see. Feeling a little optimistic about a season 4. And yeah, if it happens, I'm all for it. I'm excited. This, like I said, similar to the whole Avatar thing, that's exactly what I would have wanted. And when we talked about it with Hannibal, like, yeah, hopefully the fact that everyone's watching it now that it's on Netflix gets some excitement going. And maybe, you know, we get a season 4 from Netflix that, you know, picks up after all these years and dives back into some of the shit. And it seems like that's a very strong possibility going on right now.
It would be an amazing comeback. And look, this would be, considering that this was a network show and it was as good as it was, as you say, now, with it being basically unshackled.
Oh boy, that's
on Netflix.
That kind of scares me.
You could have an iteration of this show where it's the best that it ever was.
Yeah. violence-wise, it scares me because holy shit, the shit they did on network was pretty crazy. I'm surprised it was even aired. No, yeah, you're right. And again, that's one of the great things about Netflix is they might cut you down at 3 seasons or, whatever. But if you're making shit for Netflix, you're really making shit for yourself. Like, it seems like anyone that makes shit really does have freedom to make what they want, which is really cool.
And as we've been talking about over the last few years, they've been like, Ryan Murphy, love him or hate him, he's doing what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Netflix. That's exactly what
He's
Netflix
being
bought.
his Ryan Murphy self.
Shonda Rhimes. Ava DuVernay has been doing a lot of stuff with Netflix with 13th, When They See Us,
It's
now
good
with the
shit
Russos.
too.
Yeah. So they're making some pretty wise moves. And I think it's, I mean, don't forget, of course, we should talk about this. I was about to close the show, then I forgot about the list of 10 movies that we should talk about that are most popular on Netflix. There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about, but is doing really well. The deal with Adam Sandler seems to have paid off.
Oh, it paid
immensely.
off in, pun intended, spades.
I think it was our favorite person to listen to, for laughs. Miss Grace Randolph suggested that Netflix should do a deal with Will Ferrell. And see, like a long-term like deal with Will Ferrell.
She's 100% right. I can see that paying off for them in the exact same way that it paid off with Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm. And
so,
and I'd watch every shitty one of them.
Really?
100%.
So I have here Netflix, again, taking it with a grain of salt, but they released stats, which they rarely ever do, about the biggest films that are on the service. And far and away, the biggest one with 99 million views is Extraction. I'll just go down the list as far as like ranking from like first to last. So Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, Bird Box with Sandra Bullock, Spencer Confidential, Six Underground, Murder Mystery, I believe with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, The Irishman, Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci, and Al Pacino, Triple Frontier, The Wrong Missy, The Platform, and The Perfect Date. Over half of these movies I've never heard of.
I have heard of
8,
and I've heard of 9, and I have watched 7. I'm actually really surprised that The Platform is that high.
What's that one?
It's basically it's a foreign sci-fi film that's basically like a straight up communist allegory. It's this guy that's in a prison, and what happens is it's a prison that goes upwards, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So he wakes up and he's on level 20 something. I don't know. And what happens is every day, a big old floating platform starts at the top, and it has massive amounts of food, and it goes down one level, and it's there for 5 minutes, then goes down another level, and it's there for 5 minutes, and it goes down another level. And the whole idea is the upper levels eat and engorge themselves, and the lower levels have nothing left. They eat the scraps. And, it's this whole thing of like, well, if we all paced ourselves and only ate what we needed, everyone would be able to eat, and the lower levels wouldn't starve to death. And yeah, I think you can imagine how the film continues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear, like everyone, its political messages are very blunt. And it's like a Spanish film, and it's a small budgeted one. So I'm surprised that it got that many views.
Well, we have to remind ourselves that Netflix is an international service.
Yeah, I understand. But every other film there is not international.
Right. But I'm sure that there are others that are popular, just not top 10.
Yeah, that's what it's crazy.
what other ones surprised you on this list?
I feel like
Irishman?
No,
No?
that doesn't surprise me. The Wrong Missy. That's fucking funny. No, all the other ones I think make sense to lesser or higher degrees, but they do make sense. Except for the one I haven't even heard of. But I haven't even heard of it, so I don't know.
There were some. I shared with you an article of this this industry elite who was like, at least it came off to me like scoffing at it, like this should make us scared that Netflix's best movies are not the most popular or something like that. When he was saying that movies like Two Popes, Roma, Marriage Story, Dolomite, all those are nowhere near to be found in this, and yada yada yada.
But I mean, like, obviously,
really, yeah,
like
they wouldn't. Do you not look at the box office?
Yeah,
like look at what makes money and look at what doesn't make money.
Obviously,
the fact that Netflix is making those movies should make you praise them because they don't have to, clearly.
And I guarantee you more people are watching those movies because they're on Netflix than would have watched them if they were in theaters.
Right.
Because if they're just like, this isn't really my kind of movie, but it's a slow Saturday night, fuck it, I'll give it a try. I just have to press play. I don't even have to leave my couch. Whereas if it's like, hey, you gotta go, you gotta buy a ticket, you gotta drive to the movie theater, you gotta go and you gotta sit down and you actually have to watch it all the way through and then, and then it's like, yeah, people probably aren't gonna take a risk on the shit they watch. But like, yeah, obviously fucking Adam Sandler movies are gonna, and Chris Hemsworth fucking punching people are gonna be the most watched films. Obviously. You're telling me most people don't want to watch two popes argue with each other in a garden? Imagine my shock. Like, come on.
Or fucking Orson Welles' like makeshift movie that he never got to finish
from the 70s. Like, yeah, these are obviously niche type films, but I think the hope
that you and I love,
yeah,
but again, there's a proven track record that this is just not what the general audience prefers.
But the hope is, and at least I think this is Netflix's thinking, is at the end of the day, whether you're watching or not doesn't fucking matter. It's whether you're subscribed to Netflix. Because that's what makes them money. So if they can bring in certain type of people with, 13 Reasons Why, and then bring in another type of people with old ass 70s Orson Welles movie, like,
or To All the Boys I Loved. The Kissing Booth 2, which is coming this Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll watch it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, more subscribers is more subscribers, right? If you can maximize the amount of subscribers, like you have your big overall films, but then you have films that will bring in this bunch, and then these other films that will bring in that bunch, and the more the merrier, obviously. Yeah, it's not about views, it's about subscribers.
And they're doing it, I think, better than any. I mean, honestly, like a lot of those movies we just named off, not in this list, but Netflix is making some of the best cinema, bar none. I mean, really.
No.
So they really got it going on. I feel in all sense of the imagination, with this, and for the foreseeable future, it seems like. Yeah. I think that's all we have for today, Peter. We made it.
Finally.
To the end of this particular podcast.
Oh, just the podcast. Okay.
Oh, what? What did you think I meant? That this is our last episode ever?
Well, I mean,
no, I'm actually here to announce that I have a previously unplanned extended vacation coming up, and that Peter Martinez will be taking over the show for the next few weeks.
What?
I'm kidding, of course.
Who am I gonna talk? Who am I gonna talk to? Myself?
We have Moretto.
It'd be like Kyle when he did his solo audio commentary. You're laughing just because you're holding it in. I'm gonna announce it to everyone.
I wasn't trying to hide it. I was just like, wow, I never. Had I been asked, I would have advised against the recording of that. I'll just leave it there.
It's okay.
No one was going to care.
He doesn't listen to these. It's okay.
Yeah, so that's true. That is so true. I mean, he's basically been reduced down to a minor character this season anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
You know, there's only so much money to go around.
Downsizing, you know. COVID's hit us all, including this
But hey,
business.
we kept him on.
Yeah. He still brings in lunch sometimes.
You're saying so many things that would piss him off in such a rapid way. With kid, of course. Kyle, of course, is unable to be here regularly because of his job. That's just a reality. But I thank you, Peter, for being here. I thank you all for listening. We have more content coming up here. Fantasy Fair, To the Table, Red Spotlight, Shield coming up under our big, beautiful Red Spotlight. And until next time, bye-bye.